basketball is more than just a game. It's a story of triumph, mistakes, legends, and the plays that changed history. But what if I told you there's more to the game than what meets the eye? Welcome to Science of Justice, the ultimate deep dive into the NBA's greatest stories. We go beyond the highlights, breaking down the truth behind the biggest moments, the biggest players, and the biggest controversies. From analyzing the all-time greats to uncovering the league's biggest what-ifs, this channel is for the real basketball minds, the fans who love the game, but want to understand it on a deeper level. If you're ready to challenge the narratives, question the myths, and see the game like never before, hit that subscribe button. This is Science of Justice. Let's get to work. The KD and Westbrook ERA .330. After Durant's shocking departure to Golden State, Westbrook took over as the lone star in OKC. He responded by putting up historic numbers, averaging a triple-double for the season and winning MVP. It was one of the most impressive statistical feats in NBA history. But was it really as great as it seemed? Many of his rebounds were stat-padded, with teammates clearing the lane for him. His high usage rate came at the cost of team success, and his first-round playoff exit exposed his limitations. Westbrook's journey began at UCLA, where he played with an intensity that caught the attention of NBA scouts. Drafted 4th overall by the Seattle Supersonics, who would soon become the Oklahoma City Thunder, Westbrook quickly became a cornerstone of the franchise. His athleticism, speed, and fearless approach to the game made him a fan favorite. But even in his early years, there were warning signs: his inefficient shooting, questionable decision-making, and tendency to dominate the ball. With Kevin Durant by his side, Westbrook had the perfect running mate. But while KD was the efficient, unstoppable scorer, Westbrook often played like he was the number one option. His high usage rate, tendency to take ill-advised shots, and inability to adapt his game created problems. When OKC blew a 3-1 lead to the Golden State Warriors in the 2016 Western Conference Finals, many pointed fingers at Westbrook. But instead of changing his game, he doubled down on his style of play. The MVP season, a mirage? 3 o'clock. After Durant's shocking departure to Golden State, Westbrook took over as the lone star in OKC. He responded by putting up historic numbers, averaging a triple-double for the season and winning MVP. It was one of the most impressive statistical feats in NBA history. But was it really as great as it seemed? Many of his rebounds were stat-padded, with teammates clearing the lane for him. His high usage rate came at the cost of team success, and his first-round playoff exit exposed his limitations. The NBA world celebrated Westbrook's MVP season, but the cracks in his game were already visible. His inefficiency, ball dominance, and inability to make teammates better would soon be too big to ignore. The question remained: was Westbrook truly an MVP-caliber player, or was he simply putting up empty stats? The stat padding continues. 230. Westbrook would go on to average a triple-double in multiple seasons, but the impact wasn't the same. His teams weren't winning at a high level. The Thunder never made another deep playoff run. His lack of shooting, turnovers, and questionable decision-making became more apparent. Yet, the media continued to hype his numbers, ignoring the flaws in his game. Stat padding wasn't just about the rebounds. Westbrook's assists often came at the cost of slowing down offensive flow, and his aggressive play style led to inefficient scoring nights. While his raw numbers looked historic, the reality was that they weren't translating to winning basketball. His teams exited the playoffs early year after year, and the narrative around him started to shift. The experiments with superstars. 230. Westbrook wasn't alone in OKC forever. The Thunder brought in Paul George, and for a brief moment, it seemed like the partnership could work. PG had an MVP-caliber season in 2019, but when the playoffs came around, Westbrook's inefficient shooting and decision-making cost the Thunder once again. Another early exit. Another disappointment. Then came Houston. The Rockets paired Westbrook with James Harden, hoping their combined talent could push them over the top. But the experiment failed. Westbrook's inability to space the floor and his ball-dominant style clashed with Harden's ISO-heavy approach. Houston eventually abandoned the project, trading Westbrook after just one season. A short stint in Washington followed. He teamed up with Bradley Beal and again put up flashy stats. But the Wizards barely made the playoffs and were quickly eliminated. The pattern was clear. Westbrook's numbers looked great, but they didn't lead to meaningful success. Then came his biggest challenge, playing alongside LeBron James and Anthony Davis with the Lakers. And that's when everything unraveled. The Lakers' nightmare and fall from grace 230. The Lakers thought Westbrook would be the missing piece to another championship run. Instead, he became their biggest problem. From the start, the fit was questionable. Westbrook needed the ball in his hands to be effective, but on a team with LeBron James, a generational playmaker, his role was instantly diminished. His shooting woes became more evident than ever, with defenders sagging off him, daring him to shoot. His turnovers piled up, his decision-making in crucial moments was frustrating, and his defensive lapses hurt the team. By mid-season, Lakers fans had turned on him. The media scrutinized every bad shot, every careless turnover, every awkward fit alongside LeBron and AD. Eventually, he was benched, a stunning moment for a former MVP. His confidence seemed shaken, and his body language said it all. Westbrook, the once revered triple-double king, was now an afterthought. When the Lakers finally traded him, it was clear the experiment was a failure, and his days as an elite player were officially over. Legacy: what will Westbrook be remembered for? 2 o'clock. So, what is Russell Westbrook's legacy? Is he one of the greatest point guards ever, or simply a product of inflated stats and athleticism that didn't translate to winning? There's no denying his passion, effort, and impact on the game. For a time, he was the most exciting player in the league. His energy was unmatched, and his ability to put up triple-doubles was historic. But what did it all lead to? His career is filled with playoff disappointments, failed superstar pairings, and questions about whether he ever truly evolved as a player. Did Westbrook fool the world, or did we willingly buy into the illusion? His fans will always remember him as one of the hardest working players in NBA history, but his critics will point to the missed opportunities and lack of postseason success. Russell Westbrook's career has been a roller coaster of highs and lows. From an MVP season to multiple triple-double years, from leading OKC to bouncing around the league, his legacy is a complex one. Some will remember him as a relentless competitor, a player who gave everything on the court every single night. His passion, energy, and athleticism were unmatched. He was never afraid to take the big shot, never afraid to challenge anyone in his way. For his fans, he was the ultimate warrior. But others will see the flaws, the inefficiency, the stubbornness, the inability to adapt. He played the game his way, for better or worse, and in the end, that may have been his downfall. Did his chase for stats overshadow his ability to win at the highest level? Was he more about individual accolades than team success? These are the questions that will define his legacy. As his career winds down, one thing is certain. Westbrook's story is one of the most fascinating in NBA history. A player who reached the highest of highs and faced the lowest of lows, all while staying true to himself. What do you think? How will Russell Westbrook be remembered? Was he an all-time great, or did he fool the world for a decade? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into the biggest stories in basketball.